Ladies and gentlemen, there were no Russian bounties. That was a story that was completely false and inaccurate. President Trump did not clear Lafayette Square for a photo opportunity. That was also a fabricated story without any basis in reality. The Washington Post recently had to retract quotes attributed to President Trump. Those are three stories. I'm giving you examples of three stories within the past 2.5 months. Major stories. Well, the Lafayette Square, that was last year, but people still brought that up as something to hold against Trump. And let's not even talk about the fabricated quotes, things that he said but really actually didn't say within a transcript. The Washington Post, like I said, just recently retracted a story attributing quotes that Trump never uttered in a phone call. But CNN loses nearly 70% of its viewers since Trump left office. This is a relevant article from the Daily Caller. Ratings from Nielsen Media Research reported that CNN lost 67% of its total viewers since January when Donald Trump left the White House. 67%. The network lost 71% of its viewers for both the day and primetime. In the age of 25 to 54 demographic. Okay, so the most important demographic for advertisers apparently is 25 to 54. They lost 71%. 71%. You remember the movie The Hunger Games, where there was this, the news was basically just a talk show or reality show that was full of propaganda and spin. It was basically this Orwellian type of, constant push within the movie, but also, it's CNN. They despise Trump. They have the utmost contempt and disdain. CNN has nothing to do with news. Neither does MSNBC. But both networks have dropped sharply in terms of ratings because all they had was indignation. And that's my only critique of President Trump. I just hope in the next couple of years, if you don't like the phrase tone down the rhetoric, then be strategic or at least understand that Democrats derive political momentum from indignation. The average, morally superior, liberal Democrat wakes up in the mirror and looks into the mirror and says, "Thank God the Orange Menace isn't there," and everything's better now. When a great many things are worse. All the pet projects or all the policies or all the stories that Democrats cared about just to seem moral and caring and empathetic, suddenly they don't care. And whether it's you can look at the economy as a whole, you can look at the southern geographic region of our country, all the human rights issues going on there. And facilities with 16 times capacity. 16 times capacity. The same facilities that the wonderful, morally superior, the moral voice of our generation, AOC, tried to equate to a time period she should never again speak about. Yad Vashem in Jerusalem refuted her distorted historical claims. I wrote a Jerusalem Post op-ed on that topic and how AOC's revisionist history distorts historical record simply for some kind of vapid political gain. But Yad Vashem refuted her claims. That's on hagoodman.com. You could read my writing in The Hill, the Huffington Post Salon, but also it's my Jerusalem Post op-ed on hagoodman.com. Become a member of this channel, by the way. Also hit join to become a member. It's pretty awesome. To my new members, thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, you can look at CNN's rating. I'll put the link below. Down over 70%, so 71% in the 25 to 54 age range. The interesting thing about what's taking place, whether it's Cuomo or Stelter or others on CNN, everyone realizes the only thing that they were able to accomplish is generate contempt, disdain, distrust. So they sowed distrust and division, which everything they accused Trump of, they themselves did. President Trump was not divisive. He was not, well, okay, there are certain things that he didn't have to say because he gave ammunition or he gave momentum to people he should not have given momentum to. That's also even people who were, completely nuts here and there. So he shouldn't have said certain things. But on the left, the Democratic Party, the media, they derived momentum, political momentum, not from Medicare for all or universal basic income or any Democratic policies, because the Democrats generally don't care about specific policies. They only have Pavlovian responses to words like climate change. If you say the word climate change and you try to explain, hey, it is an important topic, but it's not as important as bringing home Americans from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, they become all apoplectic and they won't be able to have a discussion. There are certain things, everything that Democrats want or think is appropriate is linked to some existential cause, or their rebuttal or their defense of their policies is always linked to some kind of existential issue where they've made this absurd leap of logic and they've catapulted themselves back into time where they're fighting on the side of justice, and that's just like what Trump is doing. So, like AOC with the revisionist historical claims, and many people that we all know, I'm sure friends of yours, if you have friends on the left, they said, oh, well, Trump is a tyrant and authoritarian. These people are not generally ignorant of history. They don't know much about history, okay? And if you knew anything about history, you would know. If you knew anything about history, you would know that Trump is the antithesis of an authoritarian. Generally, tyrants utilize their intelligence agencies on their behalf. Generally, tyrants go around the Supreme Court or or their attorney generals are held in contempt of Congress, or they just hide their communication on private servers with top secret intel. Or they mainly, the biggest issue is they start never-ending counterinsurgency wars. Trump brought us away from, he was less militant, and he oftentimes distrusted the intelligence services. That's the antithesis of a despot. And we had record low black and Latino unemployment, and he allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities, and he was the first president to step foot in North Korea to begin détente between North and South Korea. There are policies and achievements and accomplishments, which is why I voted for President Trump. Give me an accomplishment from our beloved President Biden. Crickets, nothing. I don't know anything he's done that's transformative or anything close to what President Trump has already accomplished. But CNN is an extension of the Democratic Party. So is MSNBC, The Washington Post, The New York Times. The fact that political media in this country bolsters and reinforces the biases of morally superior apoplectic liberals does not mean that they're on the right side of history or that they're accurate or they don't just make things up like The Atlantic. Attributing quotes to Trump because there's a source that said he disparaged fallen Americans. Hunter Biden's own emails show the man that used the most offensive word in the English language. They say, well, we don't know if it's really his emails. It was, the computer was left at a computer repair store. There's so much not his emails that Twitter actually did their best to suppress the story by suspending the New York Post's account. Yeah, almost certainly they're his emails, and there's more circumstantial evidence with that. Far more. And the computer repair shop owner said, yeah, we have the documentation. So the receipts are there. There's far more evidence that Hunter's emails show massive pay-to-play schemes and just statements that should have canceled him a long time ago. But there's far more evidence showing foul play, corruption, and despicable behavior on the Democratic Party side than a Steele dossier or quotes attributed to Trump because somebody doesn't like him. That is pure gossip and hearsay. So there's no like laptop with emails. It's just gossip and hearsay, masquerading as journalism. And CNN pumps that divisiveness. President Trump was not, there are things he shouldn't have said, but he was not divisive, polarizing, or a catastrophe of a president. He did great things as president. Some of the rhetoric he should have toned down, but he did great things. It was CNN and others that fomented this apoplectic hysteria among people that already cheated Bernie Sanders and that tried to foment this Trump-Russia Red Scare nonsense, and that at every turn were proven wrong. That's why they're down 70% plus. Almost nothing a great percentage of what they've reported has turned out to be sensationalized nonsense or just completely untrue or hyperbole. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe.